Hello and welcome to another episode of Cryptane Weekly. It is June 24th, and let's just get right into it. Alright, so the first thing I've got here is by The Verge. They did a little article on what they call the Smart Boy. Now this little device basically looks like an old school Game Boy, and what it allows you to do is you get this, and you get your Game Boy cartridges, and when you put that in, you can run an emulator on your smartphone that'll be tied to this, and it'll let you play the game on your smartphone. So it kind of wraps around it. They got a video, so I would check it out. It actually looks pretty darn cool, though. And if you got old Game Boy games, this could be a really good way to get back into those. And I'm sure the emulator comes with all the benefits an emulator has, but basically kind of covers half your smartphone. It's got all the buttons of a Game Boy. So if it's your thing, I'd get into it. Next up is Inhabitat did an article on Impossible Foods. They've launched their plant-based beef burgers. Apparently they've used certain ingredients from plant fibers and oils to allow them to make what essentially is almost identical to a beef patty. From the way you cook it, from the way it feels in your mouth, texture, and everything. So if you're a vegetarian or even a vegan in this case, I believe, I don't think they use any animal byproducts, then you could go ahead and eat this burger and get that delicious taste of beef up in your mouth. I'm just saying, it sounds good to me. But yeah, so I checked that article out. It's pretty cool. I'm always interested in these things because agriculture is fine, but just farming and everything, you use up like incredible amounts of land to have all these animals and then to harvest them essentially. So I don't know if we can figure out how to utilize this and create these in the lab, so to speak, but you get the same taste, same texture. Why not, right? If it's more efficient and we don't have to sit around killing cows all day, I'll take it. I'll eat it. I don't mind. Whatever. It's all good. Especially in this case, it's all plant-based. But anyways, onwards. So here's a little duality. Gizmodo did an article on a video. Someone else did the video. You'll have to check it out. I don't really remember who did it. But it's about campaign tricks and how they will utilize certain tricks to get you to believe certain ways. Like there was the one where they were showing is like Hillary Clinton, how it's hard to run the country as a president. And in this case, they show the White House, and they show Hillary Clinton in front of some white pillars, which aren't anywhere near the White House, but it makes you think of her in the White House. And then you picture her getting off a plane and dealing with another foreign official, right? All things that a president does. So it gives you that image that Hillary Clinton has as a president. Even though she's not, and therefore it could help persuade you to vote for her. So I thought it was an interesting article about how we're swayed to vote one way or another. I mean, in this case, I don't know, Trump, Clinton, I understand that there are positives and negatives, and I probably would vote Hillary, I guess. I don't know. I don't usually vote. Throwing it out there, just now you know. I believe more of abstaining unless I feel like dramatic change is necessary. Everything so far is moving the way that I want it to, so I can't complain. Anyways, the next article is on by Vox, and they do an article on Britain's leaving the EU. They voted in Britain to a referendum to leave the EU, and actually went through. So now they got to go through all the things and how they're going to go about doing that, and they kind of explain what the EU is a little bit in a video, and they have an article all about how they're going to go about doing that. So it's kind of interesting if you're into that. I guess it would be something in a way similar to how Quebec wanted to leave Canada. That'd be a similar type of thing. If you're a Canadian, I guess to be more clear, or even any state in America, it would be the same type of thing. Kind of the way the EU works is that it's kind of like all the states in America and how they have the freedom to go across all the states. So I would check that out if you're interested. Next up is Google and their AI rules. So if you've ever heard of Asimov's 3 rules, something like a robot shall always follow its master's orders. A robot will always follow its master's orders, except in the case of harming itself or another human being. But then on the third one, it's something like a robot will always help a human being. So basically, it's a way that the robots can't hurt humans in any way, shape, or form, and then will always go out of their way to protect a human if they can. I'm not 100% sure what the rules are. They're pretty good. I think the best one I've ever seen is Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams. I love that movie. If you're really interested in the rules of robotics, I would recommend it. I'm not sure if it's necessarily the best movie out there, but it's a classic in my book, so I would say check it out. Anyways, next up is Tesla's considering, or actually put a bid in, to buy Solar City, and that's Elon Musk. He owns Tesla. He's also a chair on Solar City. His cousin is actually the one who owns or runs Solar City, but he's thinking that if he can own it, then he can incorporate those solar cells into one big, huge package, so to speak, where they can incorporate that with their power walls for the houses and more with the cars and kind of synergize and put that all together. So he's trying to just try to put that all together into one big, great, glorious energy of, well, not free energy, but renewable energy type company. So pretty cool. We'll see where that goes. Next up is the Steam Summer Sale. Yes, it has started. Started yesterday. So if you haven't, I would go run over and, I would go surf your way over to that side of the web and check that out. I actually use the best ways to use it. I have a few websites that I'll talk to you about really quickly. Ruruka shows you all the new deals every day, and it can see how they've gone up and down and fluctuated. I also use a Steam database, as well as the best one I find is the Steam wishlist. Like me, if you've been on Steam for a while, you can have a huge list of all the games that's on your wish list, and Steam will notify you. But then you can also get, I forget what the enhanced extension is for Chrome, but there's an Steam Chrome extension that'll essentially allow you to go into your wish list and see all the games that are on sale and discounted for like 75%. Because I'm big on buying at 75%. So by having your wish list all curated by yourself, and then the mod, you can easily go into your wish list and to see all the games that are 75% off, or any percentage really, all ordered nice and easily for you, which is pretty awesome. But anyways, I would go check that Steam sale out because there are a lot of games on sale, like 7,000 plus. Pretty crazy. So I'm sure there's probably something. Anyways. The next one is an article that I wanted to share a little earlier, but E3 and all that, didn't really think there was a lot of time, and there wasn't. So, is the GPU compared to the CPU? And if you've ever been curious why we need GPUs and the differences between them, a lot of it comes down to cores. The GPUs are made in such a way that they have a lot of cores that can do complex but yet simple tasks, which is rendering geometry. It's all very simple. It's all complex math, but it's all straightforward math, and therefore all these cores can do these and all these separate geometrical shapes, anti-aliasing, and all that all really quickly through a GPU. Whereas the CPUs are way more powerful cores, but they can only run so many tasks. You might have a 4-core, dual core, or well, I guess 4 core is quad core, sorry, or an octal core. In these cases, it is better to utilize the CPU for more intensive tasks like AI, which has a lot of things to consider to manage all that, which is more complex tasking. So that's generally how the rundown works. So whereas you can run a game with a CPU only if you wanted to, and vice versa with a GPU. There's a reason why there is both, and why it's efficient to use both. So he goes into that. It's pretty cool. Next up is Safety Starts With You. I thought these were delightful in their morbid way of expressing how to be safe when involving trains, mostly, I believe. They're just fun little videos that get you in the mood to, always watch where you're look where you're going, and I know look on your phone like I do too, constantly. But keeping an eye out so you don't get smoked by a car or train is also very important. And the video kind of delightfully goes over that. Videos, there's actually there's plenty of them. Next up is A Human Origins by Kurzagat again, in a nutshell. And this one goes over how we've the origins of humans essentially, and how we've evolved from Neanderthals, and there's, I believe they go on to say there were 6 other species, and how we've only been around for way less than most of the other humanoid type species. And then on top of that, when it comes to who we are and what we are nowadays, it's really only a percentage. I mean a tiny percentage of all the evolution where we're having all the cars and the cell phones and stuff. It's such a small percentage of what the human race actually has done over the years. We didn't really get by much, and if you really think about it, we're advancing at an incredible rate that is to me incomprehensible, because if you go 50 years ago to imagine what 50 years in the future is like, I mean they imagine it, but it's hard. But then you go 300 years ago and then imagine what 50 years in the future is like. It doesn't change as much. The future is exponentially changing and growing, and that's pretty exciting. So we live in a really great age. I thought that was a really interesting video. He does a really great job, or that whole crew does. So I would highly recommend checking that out. It's a fun video. Boston Dynamics, if you know Big Dog and that, they got a new robot. It's kind of like Big Dog though, but it's got a little robot head now. Red head hand. I don't know. Verge, I believe, is it Verge? No, Gizmodo does an article on it, and they call it a giraffe. This little robot can pick up cups and load a dishwasher, and bring you a pop can in the living room. I thought it was pretty nifty though, because you look at it and you're like, okay, now this is bordering on the start of having your little robot butler. So I'm kind of excited to see where that's going. So I would check that out if you're interested, and always like watching the start of the robot revolution as it comes. And then the next couple of things are a couple podcasts I listen to. I just wanted to recommend a few more here. These are some of my favorites. They're all about games. There's the Giant Bombcast and the Giant Beastcast. Giant Bombcast is Tuesdays, and the Giant Beastcast is Fridays every week. And these involve a lot of veterans in the industry, the gaming industry, and they're very fun and charismatic crew, which I would highly recommend watching or listening to. Sorry, and they're just great. They're long podcasts, but they're just fun. They're delightful to listen to. I can't recommend them anymore. Vinny Caravella, Jeff Gerstmann, who's been around for, oh my gosh, he's like he's veterans and veterans. He's been here for ages. And he's just amazing. So I would check those out. Those are both amazing podcasts if you want something to listen to while you're on the train or on the go, or if you just want something to fill that void. Like me, I can't for anymore. I can't have that void in my life anymore, where it's like, you're walking somewhere and you just got nothing, no music or whatever. And music's great, but having a podcast where you're learning about games or not just games, there's other ones too, and maybe I'll get into that down the road. But just having a podcast to kind of fill you in on what's happening out there is really great, and these are just a fun little crew to listen to. Next up is I haven't kept up with these. Is Captive Minecraft 4 is the one that just got released recently by the Farlanders. Now I played the original one way back when, and I thought it was amazing. And the way the world works is that you have to access achievements or finish your achievements. And what it does is you start off in a one block wide area that you can't leave. Literally, you're all in this one block, and if you open your inventory, you get an achievement, and then it'll expand. Right now, you're in a 3x3, a little less than that actually, and then now there's a tree that you can get. So you chop wood, and it's like, oh, you got wood. Well, great. Now you got another achievement. And the whole idea is that you're supposed to get all these achievements. And I know you'd think it's such a small area, but it's a handcrafted world. And as you do it, there's these monuments, and it's all in basic Minecraft. So it's great for just anybody who can download a map. You don't have to have any mods or anything, and these are fun, and they're also multiplayer available, and they're super great. I couldn't recommend them anymore. I think when I had played the first one, it was one of the best times I had with a custom map. And this one's also actually rated for beginners, so I have a link to that. I would go check that out. It looks great. And the last thing I'm going to do is building a medieval castle on Gizmodo. They have a video. They didn't do the video. I think it's like CBS or something. I can't remember exactly. But it's the people who are actually making an old school castle the old school way. And they're using the tools from back in the day. And they're building a castle. And they even show how to make, like, how a wooden fort was made. Even back in the day, even before that, before stone was generally used. It's really cool. And the reason why I left that article for last is because as you're getting bored of me filling this, whatever I'm filling, just this whole, I'm going to get into this actually. So what I'm doing is, as you're aware, I don't really want the wall to be on water. And I do like the idea of my castle being on an island, but I do have to fill this all in, even though in some sense I will dig it back out. But the water has to go one way or another. And I could use gravel or sand, but there is a lot here to fill, and more than I have in gravel and or sand. So not necessarily ideal. So I've just been doing, as you can see, what I have been doing, where I've been dropping down. I need to get some water breathing on my helmet, perhaps, which will give me better vision. And it will also give me the ability to stay underwater for an extra 15 seconds for every level. I think you can get up to level 3. So at the highest level, you start with 15 with nothing. You put that on, you can be under there for a minute. That'll help greatly. Where I can do this, because it can just reach the limits, but over there, where it starts to really get into the ocean, it's a little too deep for me to consistently do it without taking damage. So I'm not sure. But I want to just do this little area because this is where the path loops around. I do a very symmetrical base. So I just wanted to kind of do this so I can get my little underground tunnel here, which maybe I have or haven't shown you. I actually don't know. Anyways, the way this all works is that I have a path that loops around everywhere, as you can see. But underneath it, you can also travel. And a more of a hidden network of tunnels, essentially. And then I have the rooms that I'm sure you've seen on several occasions that I've been digging out with my storage and everything else. But what I've been doing all week, and I'm going to share with you, is a little bit more on the finalized design on the towers. That one's not done, but that's okay. I do have one that is done. Oh, jeez. And I'm going to show you. All right. Excited? Oh, got a little glimpse. Boom! I mean, it's, it's the wrong... Well, it's not the wrong, but I guess ideally you'd want like an inside corner one or whatever. I don't know if I did the outside properly. I think no, I didn't do I had to fill these in properly with these bricks to have that line to go across, because I want to break it up a little bit, because it gives it a nice little wall design. If you break it up, I put the little feet on here, right, to give a better support for the base. I know it doesn't technically matter, but I wanted to have the better support. These little differentiator, then this line that goes all the way around, and then because I want to have the courtyard. This is like the start. So this is the middle, but this is where the castle's main castle courtyard is. And then I plan to have my castle, or what I plan to build up here, but it's going to actually be raised up higher, so it overlooks my little kingdom of Cryptane here. But yeah, so I've been spending a lot of time figuring out this design over the past week, because I know you're getting tired of me. I'm just fiddling on the dirts. So I thought you could get a good look at that. This follows this line. So all the way up there, and I got that looking good. I don't think I did the walkway on the inside yet. I had to figure that out, because it has to be able to walk up, and I don't want to jump up. So I'm going to have to do like half slab something in there. I'll figure that out though. But it looks pretty nice, I think. And we'll go up top. Let's go check it out really quick before I end this. So it's got, and that might change things up still, you never know. So it's got this floor, which is alright. Walks out, and then before the sun goes down, let's get up here. And then you got up here. And then you can get a view of the kingdom. that I inevitably will build. A lot of work goes into this place, I assure you. And anybody who loves and plays Minecraft on regular knows that this is a lot of work to do in survival. So, you know, I appreciate you keeping up and watching. Anyway, so that's all the news for the week. And I will see you next week. All right, peace out.